Hello, everybody. How are you doing on this Mother's Day? Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. Hope you guys had a great day today and going into the evening. Yesterday was not a great day for us Inter Miami fans. And, I'm not going to go down this misery road by myself. Of course, I'm going to bring somebody down with me, and that's everybody's favorite Ed. Everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Ed. Man, I'm tongue-tied. How you doing, Ed?
Having some cafecito. I didn't get much sleep last night, Peter, because it was so depressing. Terrible game, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
A lot of bitch about,
Yeah.
complain about, and well, let's get to business.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it. Lots to talk about, obviously, and let the chat room drive the show. So those of you that want to get in the chat and start talking, please do. Chat room is always open. Also, I have to launch the. It's already launched. We do have our voicemail available as well, and that is 786-474-4435. I'll put up a graphic in a little bit. But before we go too far down the road, let's say a big thank you to our sponsors. And let's start off with Caneswear. Caneswear is located in Davie, Florida, just south of 595 on University Drive, the messiest wall in all of South Florida. So you want to get the best deals in town look, they're always having sales. They just had a Mother's Day sale. So what you really should do besides going to the store is follow them on like Twitter and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. So always find out when they're having really good sales. They're always having really good sales at Caneswear. Again, they're having I think they're probably just wrapped up a Mother's Day sale. So go check them out and buy yourself some Inter Miami stuff. And I always have the wrong image up, Ed.
It doesn't matter, Peter, because everybody needs to, invest in South Florida, and the best way to do it is talking to Mia Rodrigues. She speaks 3 languages. You can send her a WhatsApp message, and she will hook you up. Either she'll sell you a property or she will be able to help you buy one. So if you want to invest in South Florida, Mia Rodrigues is the goat of all realtors in South Florida. You need to talk to her. And, you could even become famous, Peter Browning. She's got a TV show, The American Dream, selling Florida. So you could also appear on her TV show if you guys have a cool business or, property you want to sell or buy. You can talk to Mia Rodrigues.
All right. And again, if you want to leave us a call, 786-474-4435. You want to bitch and moan and complain, and this is the place to do it today. This is the place to do it today. I try to generally be super positive, but I'm running out of positivity, Ed.
Peter, man, it's I didn't expect us to be to lose another game so soon, but isn't Mascherano that's to blame for this, and I think everybody's pointing their finger at him because we let go of 2 great players that could have played a role.
Mm-hmm.
They're gone now. Now we've got, what we've got left.
Let's start with just last night's game. And at the beginning I've always said, since Mascherano is picked, like, how much does he really have to do? Right? How much? Of course, he's going to instill some tactics and things like that. But again, I'm looking at it from the outside. So what do I really know? But what I feel is Messi is the real coach, right? So Messi is the one that's really doing a lot of the work. But to me, at least from the outside, not knowing what's going on in the inside, I think Mascherano's 2 most important, biggest jobs that we can at least see are picking the starting lineup and making substitutions, right? Those are his 2 biggest jobs, I think. And consistently, and then, picking that lineup, you're obviously choosing to put a player in his proper position or not. And I think when we consistently are looking at that starting lineup, all of us fans are saying the same things, that he's picking the wrong lineup. And so that's where, like last week, I went down the road of blaming Jorge Mas. And I still think he has a large blame in this. Because he's the one that the buck stops with him. He makes the hires. So if we have a problem with the director of soccer operations, well, Jorge hired him. Got a problem with Mascherano? Well, Messi hired him. But You know, Jorge approved it, right? So I still go down that path. But Mascherano now he's in over his head and he's picking the wrong lineups consistently. I mean, like we all are yelling at our screens or wherever you are when you see that Frey is on the bench. He's not starting yet again. Yet when he comes in, he looks good. He got into the game and he looked good. And I'm not even saying that because he obviously would play in the cello position. I'm not even saying cello's bad player because he tries to be Alba, right? He tries to be Alba, and he does a
Alba,
decent job at
right?
times.
Yeah,
He
but
does
most of the time, no, Peter Brown. Most
well,
of the
no,
time,
but I mean, I think he would be a better midfielder than a defender because he can't defend that well, but he does get up into the attack fairly often. But regardless of that, even with that, Frey's better.
and the good thing about Wingard is that he can score, but this time he scored against
But for
our own
who?
team, so you know
Yeah,
that's not good.
and then so going back picking that back line, Falcone, who I know some people he had a bad game recently. I don't know. In my house, he's a fan favorite, right? My wife is yelling at me to get Falcone in the back of my jersey, right? Um, and okay, if you don't want to start Falcone, and I know we've harped on Avilés a little bit time to time because he can make some boneheaded mistakes, but he's still a better option in that center, to be next to because right now you're going to be next to Allen, and that's fine. I have no problem with Allen, even though he's short. We got you bring in a little bit of height in that back. So it's like it seems like the back line, which should be the thing that Mascherano knows how to pick the best, right? He should know how to pick the defense the best.
Well, this time, Peter, he played with three, well, at least three players that play the
Okay, yeah, the
defensive.
midfield, but yeah. Let's get into
So,
that, Ed.
so that when we saw that lineup, I mean, I remember your first reaction was like, "Ooh, I hate the lineup." That was
Yeah,
your first reaction,
yeah.
and I was like, "Yeah, what's he doing with what in tarnations is he doing?" I mean, I'm not even talking about Fafa wasn't in there, 6 supposedly, right? Frey wasn't in there. Wingott had the position. Who else? Well, Obando wasn't even available because he apparently had a hamstring.
Yeah,
Uh, and,
so
and of course, Suarez wasn't playing because he had some personal problem. He didn't travel with the team. And there was one other player that wasn't there. Who was? I said Fafa,
well,
Obando.
Baltazar's not played yet.
Okay,
Baltazar
there's another.
Rodrigues still has not played yet. But let's just start in that midfield, playing those three people that basically play the same position, right? I mean, you need. I mean, with Busquets because he doesn't run as much as he used to. You need somebody like Bright, right? You see what I did there? But you don't also need Redondo because Redondo is basically a young, up and coming maybe Busquets, so you don't need him in there. And so it seemed pointless. You were putting Busquets kind of like on the wing in the beginning of the game. It's like that's not his position. What are you doing? So, um, just that alone right there seemed odd. Like that's an odd choice in dynamics. You know, I just don't get. Now, as far as like the rest, like I complained early because I didn't know and I didn't do any research. I was just watching the game venting on Twitter. Just like, why do you have Obando and why do you have Fafa if you're not going to play them? Well, they weren't available, right? Fafa had a migraine and Obando still hurt. So I guess and from what I understand, that Fafa might have been part of the planned starting lineup. So, and then Suarez is off on some family issue. I mean, hopefully everything's okay there because when you hear that, I instantly start thinking death in the family, sickness with mother or father. That's what I start thinking. But I can't blame Mascherano for say not really having a good number 9. But Messi ain't it. So you can't put Messi in that position because he likes to drop back too much. You could have put Allende as a number 9 and started with him up there.
He didn't start.
And I know Allende's had a rough season since his injury, but I think he has had some time playing in that position previous to coming to, Inter Miami. So it just seems like he's got the lineup all wrong, which is like I think is the most basic of basic roles for him. That's his main thing. Anyways, we
Yeah.
forgot to say hello to the chat room, by the way, or I forgot.
Yeah. Well, before we go to the chat room, Segovia was another player that isn't playing that well either.
But,
He just what
but is he
happened to these
playing in the
guys?
right position? Because they keep putting him on the wing, and he's probably
A playmaker.
better sitting next to Busquets. So it's like, okay, now he really played 4 players that kind of in that similar position, and now putting them in odd places.
They're all over the place.
Because Segovia is not a winger. I mean, he seems to do better when he's cutting into them and playing in the middle. So then, would he be better to sit next to Busquets? But then you got to bench Bright, who we like.
But Bright, it makes more sense for Suarez to go up a little bit more if Bright is in the back because he's great at cutting.
And he's also doing all the dirty work that Busquets can't do right now. And that was something else that I'm complaining about, especially with our buddy Julio, is that because he likes the old guys. And I'm always saying it's too old. And I think it was Herculez Gomez, who I heard talking about it on ESPN, where he was basically saying, and I agreed with him, it's okay for a team to have like 1, maybe 2 over 35 kind of players, 34, 35 plus, right? You're never going to say no to a Messi, right? So it's okay to have 1 or 2 of those, but for every one of those you've got to have another player that's kind of doing all the running for that player because they're not doing it. So it's like, okay, you've got Busquets in there, Bright's doing the running for him. Who's doing the running for Messi? Who's doing the running for Suarez? Alba can still run. Right. So you've got to have people in there filling the gaps because it's almost like you're playing with fewer players in a sense then.
Yeah, it is. I think it's really annoying everything that we saw in that game and just the defending. Everybody was, they were catching. Weingart was way in the front. Cello was way in the up top, and then he come back. And he's just. You're right. He's probably better suited as a right side midfielder rather than playing on as a right back because he just doesn't get back on time. And they were constantly caught off guard, losing the ball too. They lost the ball a lot.
Yeah,
Messi,
Messi.
Yeah, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, led to one of the goals or led to a whole bunch of attacks by Minnesota. Minnesota basically just. They let us keep the ball, but they just counterattacked. And everybody knows that's the way to get to Inter Miami. Clog up the middle, counterattacks, and they'll get us. And they got us.
All right, so I'm just highlighting some of these chats that I think we should cover. So we were talking about players having to cover. Here you got Waisia saying Allen had to cover for Lujan. That's too much to bear, right? So that's another situation. Now, Lujan is not so much an issue of age. It's just a quality. Instead of having Lujan in the game, I would have taken Falcone, David Martinez, or Avilés. Give me any of those 3 over Lujan. Now, I know with Avilés, I'm playing with a risk of getting a yellow or red, but then he also saves your ass sometimes.
He does, yeah. He sometimes plays well, sometimes messes up. But
sometimes a mixed bag. But
what's the deal? I mean, what's the love with Lujan?
I don't know. He sucks.
It's just Mascherano just I don't know. And you're talking also about Maxi. He's always he's a good player, and he's not playing him. What was he hurt? I mean, what's the deal? It just doesn't make sense.
He's on the bench, so you figure he's okay. I mean, he's good enough to be on the bench.
He made a lot of good plays, but he can't do it by himself.
Yeah, agreed. So. More comments. Oh, yeah, Mr. Krabs saying, at least under Tata, the team was scoring goals. I miss Tata. Where's Mike V? Because Mike V was always yelling out Fire Tata, whatever his hashtag was. Tata, while we would get frustrated with him from time to time, he was better than Mascherano. See, here's one of the biggest issues with the Mascherano thing. And And Jorge Mas talked about this. They originally eyed Mascherano as a player to play for us for a few years ago. And I bet you he would be right now, even at his current age, would he be a better player than coach?
It
Right
maybe
now, at
he
his
was tough.
elevated age, would he be a better player than coach? He
He
might
probably
be.
he might
Might
be.
be. So anyway, so he was looked at as a player. So then he retires. So that's obviously out. Then they looked at him to bring him in as a academy coach, and then let him work his way up into the system with the idea of potentially someday maybe being the head coach. Tata leaves, then all of a sudden, he gets catapulted to the starting lineup here, and that's not
I,
good.
and I got to tell you, I mean, if they were going to give an opportunity to somebody that's just starting, why didn't they just give Morales a chance to be the coach? He's been one of the assistant
Because he
coaches.
doesn't have the name, he doesn't have the friendship with Messi, and that's where a lot of it goes back to.
Right.
I always forget, is this a less than or greater than? Lujan is greater than the other three?
No,
Or is
he's
that's a less than
yeah,
or a greater than?
it's less than. So the
Less
other
than.
three
Okay. I
are
always
better
get
than.
I get confused with those. You guys are too smart for me.
Math was not Peter's forte, guys.
Yeah, you get too smart for me. I was actually trying to find. I have a spreadsheet somewhere that I had created. I was trying to find it, but I should have done it before the game. I just remembered, like, when we brought in these new players, I had oh yeah, here it is. I'd taken some notes on the contracts, because remember, sometimes it's hard to find information on how long is a contract after they've signed it. So it's like Segovia. You don't like him, right? Better get used to it, because they signed him till 2029.
Oh,
That was the player. I remember there was one player that they signed to like a really long deal. So that's Lujan till 2027. That's the end. That's the end, right? I mean, that means including the 2027 season. So that's 3 more years, right? This season,
wow,
26 and 27. That's 3 seasons,
wow.
right? And so the others, Allende,
Oh,
Ustari, they're all shorter contracts. I don't have the information. I guess I stopped taking notes on Falcone and Rodrigues, but so I don't know about this. But the point being, you better get used to them. Eric Thomas jumping in the mix, saying, I think Lujan has nude pictures of Mascherano or something. Don't understand Mascherano's infatuation with Lujan.
yeah,
Getting into some
there
juicy
are
stuff.
there are coaches that maybe he does have something over him, but coaches have their favorites. Like Tata had Gressel as one of his favorites.
So
Same thing.
so let's talk about that. We and as I'm chatting with you guys, you, me, and Julio are sitting there chatting. Sometimes I think Julio brought up the point that we have so much so many mediocre players, or even maybe you could say, I look at them as projects. We have so many players that are kind of like projects, that they might be good someday. There are a lot of them are that. A lot of them they're developing. They're young. They're projects. What we are missing are those kind of like mid-level MLS players. Okay, they're not as good as your Messi and your Suarez, fine, but they are solid mid-level MLS players. We're missing those players because we got rid of them. And those are the kind of players that we could be using right now with Gressel. I know a lot of people didn't like him, but he did a lot of the dirty work and things like that. He would be valuable right now. But even more important, Taylor. Mascherano had something against him. He didn't play him. Even Campana. Now, I understand Campana wanted more playing time, but guess what? He would have got it this year because
Yep.
he would have got it this year because Suarez is not looking as good. So we're missing those kind of and Campana may be more than a mid-level, but he just didn't get the opportunity, right? But
Right.
like, we're missing those mid-level players. We are old or project.
Yeah, tough, tough deal right there, man. But yeah, that loss in Minnesota brings things to perspective, and it really sucks
One
for
more
us.
one
At least
goal
we didn't
says,
leave 7-0.
yeah, well, at least we're not at Los Angeles Galaxy. Exactly, exactly. Um, see where we got in that. Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs says, why not let Javier Morales babysit the team until they find a suitable coach? Well, that would be so. Would they fire? And that's where I threw out a tweet last night, just asking the question: is it too early to fire Mascherano? Would they fire Mascherano? That would they run the risk? Would Messi okay? Because they're going to have to get his buy-in. Would Messi basically, in essence, would Messi sack his friend this early in the season? It's still early.
Yeah,
What do
I
you
think
think? Would he?
he gets a couple more losses soon. He could be gone. I think he's got two more losses. If we get the four losses in the next few games, I think he'll be gone. It could be if we lose the next game, they could pull the plug. I don't know, but you're right. It depends on what Messi says. There
Right.
there was he did look frustrated last game, even though we won 4-1. It's
Because
hard.
at the end of the day, you know, Messi is partially to blame, helping to bring in this coach. So where's this frustration? I don't know. I mean, is it at his friend or is it at his teammates? Right?
Get his
Messi at
teammates.
this point is smart enough to know what the MLS is. He can't be still thinking, I expect players like I had in Barcelona. I didn't know what I was getting into. That can't be the case. That can't be. He knew what he was getting to. He may not have known the full scope of the rules, but he had to have an idea of there are restrictions in this league and you got to work around them. And so his frustrations have to be looking at himself, at the decisions that he's kind of helped put the team in. But would he okay getting rid of it? And yeah, I agree with you. I think it's too soon in reality. Like, I don't think they would. And look, if they went behind Messi's back, if they forced it, I don't know if they would. But if they did, does that impact Messi re-signing for the next year and maybe another? Because there was rumors that it could be 2 years. Would that impact him staying with the team?
I don't know, man, but I'm kind of worried too. I think everybody's worried that he might, he hasn't signed yet. A couple weeks ago, Jorge Mas talked about it, and it seemed positive, like an 80%. But now people are
Mm-hmm.
just the more he waits, now it seems like a 50-50 thing. Especially seeing how frustrated he was in the last game that we won by a lot. So I imagine he must be frustrated after this last game because we lost so bad, and the only goal was his goal.
Which
Um,
I put in the notes. He has got to 860 goals for Messi. I think that was. I think I read that it's the youngest player to get to that. You know,
Milestone, yeah.
milestone.
And the thing is, I think Cristiano Ronaldo got there just a
He
little
got
bit
there too.
before, but he's got like more than 100 games more than Messi.
Right,
So
and he's a year older.
and he's a year older, so he's
So,
almost going to pull the plug. Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, I wonder if that impacts. And that there was a comment in here from Michael Donnelly a while ago saying, after Barca win over Real Madrid today, Barca fans were chanting Messi, Messi. For sure, Messi leaving. So I don't know if it's a for sure thing because I do think
They don't have the
from
space for him.
what's that?
They don't have the cap space for him
Yeah,
in
well, true.
in
But
Barcelona.
could he go on a deal? Like, would he take a deal just to finish his career at his club?
You got a
Right.
point. He
The
can
kind
take
of
a deal.
deals that people take to come play for us, to play with him, would he take a deal to go back to? He might.
He might.
Money seems to find a way to work itself out when Messi's involved. So,
That's
um,
true. They'll figure
So
something out.
yeah, I think so. But it's from all accounts that I've heard, him and his family really do love living down here. And there are like little videos of him helping carry the bench for the. I don't know if you saw that video last week. There was a video of him out on the training pitch with the academy kids, and he's carrying one of the bench. He's acting like a parent, just a parent, you know. And it feels like he enjoys his time here. So Esteban Dito's on a tear in here. I've been kind of just we've had so I haven't really looked at the chat as much as I should, but Esteban's on a tear here saying Mascherano out, Moss brothers out, David Beckham out. Well, then so is the team. Esteban Dito's then goes Messi and Friends out, and then just to stick with the theme, Ed Serrano out.
Evil.
I'm still cool with Esteban though. I'm still cool with him. I'm not out. So luckily I'm good. Let's keep it that way, Esteban. Let's keep me in. But that does also I actually thought about that today. Let's say Messi did not re-sign. Would it be the end of the world?
If he doesn't come back for the opening of the new stadium, it
Right.
could be the end of the world.
Would it? Because
who are they going to get to replace him? There's nobody that can replace him. Ronaldo?
I'll be honest.
40-year-old Ronaldo?
No, they're not getting Ronaldo. I don't know who they would get. But even if they ended up spending a year or two kind of trying to figure it out, right? That's what generally happens to teams in MLS. They take a little time to kind of figure it out. Would it be the end of the world? Look, with Messi come with great power. What was it? What is it? With great power comes great responsibility. With Messi comes a lot of expectations. Kind of similar thought process in my mind. So with Messi comes a lot of unrealistic expectations. And I'll be honest, I am sick and tired of all these Messi maniacs, mostly on Twitter, that, you know, there's this one guy, Kava or whatever, he's all over. And I don't even know how he's on my Twitter feed because I don't follow him. But somehow Twitter puts him in my feed, and it's just like, but he gets a lot of buzz. Like he's got a good following, I guess. And you know, but people like him that are like yawning when they're like, oh, I'm so sick and tired of this Inter Miami team. Let's get rid of those people.
Right.
Now I know we're benefiting from some of those people on this channel, but if you're not if you hate Inter Miami and only love Messi, see you later. Right? See you later. Would it be that bad to kind of go for us as fans? Would it look? It wouldn't be that bad to get back to basics and maybe build a team properly. You know, I love having Messi, but would it be the end of the world? Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs says Messi can't leave. He needs to be here when the new stadium opens. I mean, sure, that helps. But
who knows?
Do you need the circus that surrounds him? He's done his job. At this point, he's done his job. Was Messi a failure in MLS? No way, no matter what happens from here on. If they don't win any more trophies, it's still a success. Right? Just the global recognition for this team, the league, everything, the financial, everything. It's been a success. So I don't know. In some ways, it actually might be nice to get back to the basics. And having. I mean, would you be so mad at having just a team that's like, you know, again, like a Columbus? Like we could look at Vancouver this year because they're the hot new team for Vancouver. Would that be too bad?
It wouldn't be too bad. I think it would be kind of cool. I mean, we're fans for life.
Exactly. I'm there no matter what. Anu Weissman saying from Atlanta saying Messi leaving will get rid of all the plastic out of your fan base. Well, yeah. Yeah. One World, One Goal, saying, I miss soccer being a team sport, not an individual one. And that kind of goes to that too. It's so much focus on one player. And like, I'm happy he's here. And I have show and tell in a little bit. I'm happy he's here, but I would prefer for him to resign. But if having him resign means this is what we get, Messi's friend as a coach, Messi's old buddies plugged in everywhere, then maybe I'm okay if he just goes and becomes an owner.
Yeah, let him. I'm okay with him becoming an owner, Peter.
Because I mean, he's going to be an owner of this team afterwards. Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs again saying he's with us. I was here before Messi. I'm going to be here after Messi. Exactly, us too. Now, yeah, I mean, it is fun being a fan of the team that it is like the number one selling jersey in the league. It's fun of being a hot new thing, but with it comes a lot of nonsense that. And this team is so Messi reliant that, and he gets mad at them sometimes.
Yeah, but they depend on him, especially when we're playing. Also everything goes through him, so it's just too predictable. Everything goes to Messi. They want him to score, and nobody else is taking chances. And they're not. We're just too predictable, like you said.
Yeah. Sports Shorts checking in, our young fans saying if Messi leaves, a lot of quote unquote fans leave. But are they fans, right? I mean, those are the people that, like, I wrote to that guy Cava one day when he was putting up like a crying face or a yawning face, like Inter Miami's playing. I don't care. I was like, we don't need you. We don't need you.
Yeah.
Now, the team might disagree with me because they want to sell them jerseys and merchandise, and they're selling. But then again, I asked this question. How many of these Messi worldwide fans have actually been to a game? Like, we know some people that have flown from outside the country to come to see a game. We sat with some of them at a fun game. And so hats off to those people. But how many of these fans have actually come and spent their hard-earned money at an overpriced Inter Miami game? Because they are a little overpriced. How many have actually bought official merchandise? Like where the team again makes money. So it's like I bet you a lot of these maniacs, I guess is what I keep calling them, fanboys, they're not, Now, something that One World, One Goal saying, I upset the World Cup tickets are average $300. It's the Messi effect. So World Cup tickets being expensive, yeah, but that made me think about who likes Messi being in the league is all the other teams. They might like to complain about us, but they like when he's in the league because they sell those tickets like in Dallas, and they sell out those big stadiums.
Yeah, that they do. So Peter, let's start talking about the next game since we already vented our frustration.
Well, one more thing about this game because I ever forgot because I went off on tangents I didn't plan on going on, but because I do that. Julian Gressel, I said we missed, and it was mentioned in the chat, but I have the quote here. Julian Gressel doing what you should be doing and throwing us under the bus when he goes and he says, "Oh, my screen just died." It says from the Miami Herald, former Inter Miami player Julian Gressel, who was waived by the team a few weeks ago and signed by Minnesota, entered the game in the second half. Defender Michael Boxall said Gressel gave the team some advice about playing against Miami. Actually, quote, in the locker room, he said that they will be good for 30 minutes. And then after that, we'll get a chance. And we scored in the 32nd. So he was spot on, Boxall said.
Wow.
Throw, that's what you're always concerned. And think about it. He's right. We're good for a solid 30 minutes. And those old guys get tired. They get tired. Yeah. And then going back to another quote I pulled, going back to Mascherano, if the players' performance levels drop, clearly the responsibility falls on me. the coach. If the coach does not convince them or instill in them what he is asking them to do, the responsibility falls on him. He is kind of like putting his head in the guillotine right there. He is saying it is my fault right there. And I think at this point, a lot of us will be happy to push his head right into that guillotine.
Yeah. And pull the lever.
But could you get another coach in here so quick enough that we're in decent shape for the Club World Cup? That's the problem.
Look, Peter Brown.
What's the LAFC is beating Vancouver.
Vancouver, yay! I'm okay with that.
Nice.
Was it? I think last show we were talking about. You brought it up. You said maybe Vancouver is just they're in a high right now, but maybe they're going to crash pretty soon.
I think eventually, maybe. Well, LAFC is kind of like the West Coast version of Inter Miami, right? That you would maybe consider plastic and all those kind of things that people might say, But Ed, before we go on to the next game, because we still got so much to talk about this one, let's talk about this photo right here. This was a tifo put up at the Minnesota game. History over hype, culture over cash. Now, this kind of thing I do get tired of, because quite often we are called plastic. And there have been some very creative tifos. There was one I remember where it was like a Barbie doll. I don't remember what team put that up, but it was like us as a Barbie doll type thing. It was very creative. I liked it. I thought it was hilarious. Hats off. But this one, history over hype. So
what history do
I saw some people on Twitter saying, how is a team that was created in I forget the exact year, but like maybe it was like 2010, whatever the year that the United started. How is a team that bought their way into the league? Every team in this league bought their way into the league. No different than what Inter Miami did. Difference is we got it a little bit cheaper. But every single team has had to buy their way into the team. So culture over cash. We all had to put down the cash to get there. Mm-hmm. But Ed, their team, okay, it's been around a little bit longer than Inter Miami, but that's not history over hype. I mean, that's just, they've got a multi-billionaire owner just like we do, except their owner is in healthcare, which is a whole nother issue. Why are so many? I've been noticing this. This is another topic to go down a rabbit hole. But why are so many healthcare systems sponsoring front of the jersey? How many MLS teams have jersey sponsors? A lot. Maybe that's a problem with our healthcare system. They have too much money to give to soccer teams, right? That's a whole nother story. But anyways, they've got their billionaire. But anyways, let's just stick on that whole history thing. Ed, does Minnesota have like history in soccer? And what would you say?
I guess they're piggybacking off of the history of other teams. Whatever. I mean, but we got the strikers too. We got all this South Florida. Oh, there you look at you.
I actually have some history here. Can I from let me do this. Let me just pull it up like this. You could see I actually have some history from Minnesota. This is their supporters. This came this is 1990. They started. The Dark Clouds is their supporters club. Mm-hmm. This right here was the team, Minnesota Thunder. They started in 1990, it says, but that is a little dubious maybe. But I have a Minnesota scarf. How do I have a Minnesota scarf? Well, because that team came down to play the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. So the history, what basically they had an NASL team and the Kicks. We had the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Believe it or not, they had the Strikers as well. The Fort Lauderdale Strikers moved to Minnesota for one season, and they thought Minnesota sucked so much that they left. They chose to fold. Mm-hmm. So they their history. Look at that. The Kicks, the Strikers. Minnesota Thunder, the new version of the Strikers.
Right.
Minnesota Stars was the other team that they had.
Yeah.
We had Miami FC at that time. The history that they're talking about is the same history that we have. Broken up, not continuous. Teams start and stop until somebody decided to fork over a boatload of money and said, I want an MLS team. Right, Ed?
That's how it is, and that's how we're at too. So that whole thing, come on, guys. That doesn't make sense.
History overhyped. We have the same history. Now, you could say, is the history really not about the club? Is it more about the supporters club? That I might give them, okay? A little bit of an edge. The Dark Clouds, and you remember the Dark Clouds, Ed. The Dark Clouds came here.
They did.
We hung
impression? Out. Yeah, they were all like 10 feet tall. They were like huge. I was like, yeah, man, what guys, what's it called? Those biblical beings that they had that they talk about, the Nephilim or whatever, those giants. They were all giants. Would they eat Wheaties? I mean, I wanted to know what it was, but they were all very tall, big guys.
Yeah, I knew Weissman saying the Dark Clouds are that old, huh? Well, I mean, this scarf is, and this was from the Dark Clouds back then. So yeah, they're actually been around. The Dark Clouds have been around a long time. So you could say, is the history the fact that the supporters club has history, longer than ours? You could say that, but even our original supporters club, the Southern Legion, has evolved. It originally was kind of like the Miami Ultras, which I helped create, and then it kind of morphed and died off, and then came back, and same people, just growing bigger and more organized, and so on and so forth. So got the same history, and they put the same cash. So right back at you, Minnesota, right?
Yeah, it was a little weak. Come up with something better next time.
Agreed. Hey, by the way, thanks to Esteban Dito for a super chat here, $2 super chat. Moss brothers have Messi treated around the loyal fans. I'm trying to figure that out. But I guess he's saying the Moss brothers have mistreated the loyal fans. I guess it's kind of like what he's saying.
Right. They're doing hype. I mean, I understand. And Jorge Mas has said it before. He wants the whole all these TAMs and GAMs and all that stuff to disappear, and for the teams to be able to actually spend and get the best players in the world, which could happen. But there's a lot of teams that don't want to spend the money, Peter Brown, and they're perfectly okay with just surviving because they're still getting a piece of the pie. Montreal being one of them. Who else? What other team can you think of?
Well, Colorado's been known for the Stan Kroenke, the owner there, has been accused for years of just kind of not willing to spend, being cheap, even though he's got the money. He owns the hockey team. I think he owns a team in England as well. FC Dallas is one of those teams that doesn't spend very often. And so they're quite often a middle of the pack team. What saves FC Dallas is they have a really good system in place as far as the youth academies and all that. So they've got young guys coming up. So that's where they get to stay cheap and still be competitive. But they've never won an MLS Cup. So yeah, there's San Jose Earthquakes have kind of been that team as well at times. I mean, they had Landon Donovan for a period of time, so that was good. But okay, wait, hang on a second. I gotta. Oh, here, Eric Thomas is saying Philadelphia. Yep, they're another one of those teams that doesn't really spend and kind of just hangs on. So yeah, I prefer having an owner that is willing to spend, but being so Messi dependent sometimes is like, are we spending it correctly? And again, I'm not saying I want Messi to leave in any way, but I'm just saying, would it be the worst thing in the world? Jose Palmeras, you're wrong, sir. If Messi leave, business is ended. Okay, so you think, Jose, when Messi decides to retire, we're just going to close up the team and just say, all right, thanks, everybody, we're done. Good night. That's what's going to happen? Really? Are you that moronic?
Well, I
guess. Hang on. now Ed's going to come in and be the nice guy because I called the guy a moron. Go ahead, Ed.
Well, he didn't. I know Peter didn't mean it that way, but he's like, yeah,
The comment
it's not over.
is the comment.
It's not over. Yeah, it's not going to be over
does
because
it, does it take a hit?
It's going to take a hit. It probably will.
Does it take a hit? But it's gonna happen eventually. Yeah, like everybody knows he's not playing forever. Everybody knows.
I'm going to be okay with it because the tickets will be cheaper.
But
they should go down.
Will they?
I hope so. Because
when was the last time you saw something go down in price?
That you're right. But it might be able to bring it back because they got a bigger stadium coming up, and so
only
they
a little bit. It's only
5,000
5,000 seats bigger. It's not that much bigger.
That's 5,000 seats though. 5,000 people that are spending their hard-earned money. That's 5,000 people. Is a lot of people, Peter.
Yeah, I think it'll be. Let's say Messi's gone. I don't think ticket prices go down anytime soon. They would still try to strong arm everybody, and you might just see some deals, and you'll see some some things coming, but it will take a while for them. And again, I do have faith, even though I throw shade at Jorge Mas in that some of these problems are his fault. I'm not saying I dislike him, but he has to take accountability. He makes the hires, so he has to look at himself as well. But it can all be fixed. And the thing that I love about him is he's willing to spend the money. He's willing to put in the effort to fix them. So, Ed, you were starting to talk about, and I cut you off about the next games. Playing San Jose next. Team is actually currently in San Jose. They did not come home. They went straight to San Jose, which I like because, they're going to be away from distractions. And they could just train for the next couple days because I got a game on Wednesday in San Jose. San Jose just beat Colorado 2-0.
You were saying that Martinez is hurt. I don't think he played.
He did not. He wasn't on the roster. I don't know how bad he's hurt. I don't know. I just know he was not on the roster. He's injured. So I don't know if he plays on Wednesday or not. But he did not play yesterday.
No, that's good. And Chicho, I think, is playing. They've been playing pretty decently, man. So hopefully we'll be able to do something to get some points, at least tie, man.
And that's a Bruce Arena team. And Bruce Arena has stated that putting realistic expectations on this team, saying that don't really focus on us the first half of the season. Pay attention to us in the second half, right? Because he knows it's a work in progress. And it's a whole new system, new players, a lot of new stuff. So they're going to take a little time, but they do have Chicho Arango on that team. They've got another guy that's really good, and then of course, they've got our old player as well. But they're beatable because they are feeling good right now. They won in the Open Cup game. And then they beat Colorado. So, but then again, those are two kind of middling teams, struggling, not the best teams, right? But
the Orlando game is always going to be tough. We're always, there's always a good rivalry against them. They're not doing too bad either. So should be
and Orlando just won. Or no, I'm sorry, they tied their game 3-3 against, I think it was New England.
Yeah, New England. They tied.
Yep, so 3-3. They're finally starting to maybe they're starting to get it together as well. So that's always, and that's a rivalry game, and that'll be next Sunday. So obviously there won't be a show next Sunday, but and I'm going to be on Friday and Saturday. I will be in
again.
So I'll be in Orlando, but then I will be home for the game because I scheduled my trips around Inter Miami. Hey, it's my birthday on Friday, and so I go and I celebrate. Usually, most of the time, I celebrate my birthday in Disney. So
wow, which park are you going to?
Magic Kingdom and Epcot and probably Hollywood Studios. Probably take the Skyliner over to the Hollywood. I could skip, I have the I could jump around, so.
Right.
So let's see. Where are we at? So Esteban Tito saying, Peter, at least we're not Los Angeles Galaxy, Atlanta United, Toronto, what's MIFC, Minnesota, and others are simply jealous of Miami and tend to use the history moniker against us because they've got nothing else to back their jealousy. Well, that is true. The thing is that everything that these teams yell at us, if they had the chance to have hired to gotten Messi, they would have done the same thing. Every single one of these teams that throws shade at Inter Miami would have done the same exact thing if they had the chance to get Messi. They would have brought in all his buddies. They would do whatever he wants. They would do the same exact thing. Is it frustrating for us as fans that, one player, one person has too much power? Yes. But every team would have done the same exact thing.
True.
Now he's a little bit of conspiracy theory, and this is not accurate, but due to the Messi might not renew, they are trying to lock in the Miami Freedom priced season ticket holders to a 2 or 3 year contract. Sneaky Moss brothers. That's true and not true. So it has nothing to do with Messi. It's just business. They're just trying to lock in business because they do know no matter what, 3 years from now, Messi will not be with this team. So that is true. And they are locking, just to clear this up, they are locking club seats and above to 2 or 3 year deals. They are not locking in people like us. Those of us that are going to sit in the East, that is not club, because the first 10 rows maybe of the East is club. But above those rows and then the end zones, they are not locking any of those people into multi-year contracts. Only club and above. So let's get that straight. And Esteban should know the true case of that, because I know he did go to the preview center and got the same sales pitch type stuff as we did. So it's not quite accurate, but there is some truth to it, but not 100%. A new throwing shade saying, we eliminated you out of the first round of the playoffs. Yeah, that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. That's part of our conversation last week, in that, we are getting a reputation of a team that can't win the big game. So
yeah, true. Now Esteban Dito and Anu are starting to get an
go at each other. They like Esteban it's in his name. It's the bandit. He likes to stir the pot. He's a good guy, but he likes to stir the pot.
But yeah, Peter. What else we got, Peter Brown?
You know what else I got? And I got to ask you guys a question. I need help. I got this. Can you guys see this? Look at this.
Awesome.
I ordered this about 5 or 6 months ago. So this was the Funko collection that is now out for sale. But I don't know if the whole set is for sale, because I keep seeing the individuals are for sale, but I don't know about the full set. But anyways, this was, I don't know for sure, but this was a pre-order. And it basically said you can order this and it would ship in May. And it did. I got it. It's in May. What do you think? These little pop characters. I am a fan of the pop. I mean, I bring this guy out all the time because, speaking of Disney, a lot of you people won't even know who this is. But I like the pop characters. Ed, who is this?
It's a Disney character.
Somebody in the chat, please help me. Who is this? J. Thaddeus Toad? Come on. He had a ride in Disney World. No longer does, but he still has it in Disneyland. Anyways. Eric Thomas saying, damn, Peter, how old are you again? What, for having these? Come on. I'm old. I'm going to be 56, by the way. Still collecting toys. 56. So, question for everybody. Should I open it? Or should I save it and hope, because it's got Messi's name on it, that it goes up in value?
Peter, get him signed. Don't open it. Get it signed.
How? I mean, there's a conversation of like, yeah, we have been working on that for a long time. So yeah. I like what
Take it
Anu
with.
says. I like what Anu. Where's the gray hair and canes for the Barca 4, Funko? You know what my biggest issue is, Ed? That all four of these guys have beards in this picture. And here's the back, by the way. Here's the back.
Yeah.
All four of these guys have beards, when in reality, they don't all have beards.
Yeah. What's up with that?
I mean, like Suarez doesn't have a beard. He has like the beard like I have a beard. Like he shaves maybe once a week, right? Just like me.
Right.
Like it'll be clean
And
tomorrow
they,
morning.
the other thing is they kind of like all look the same,
Oh,
Peter.
I know. It's just the hair is a little bit different. Like,
How can you tell which is which? Put it up again.
well, the only way to tell really is they have names next to them. I guess this is Messi. You know, it's got more of the. Oh no, I'm looking over here. This is Messi. He's got the swoop. He's got his hair swooped up, spiky a little bit. You know, and I don't know. They do look very similar. Richard says, "Don't open it." Now, Ed, you had said earlier. What did you say earlier that I should have done?
Well, you should have bought two, open one of them, and save the other one.
So that would put me in this situation where I used to be in the 90s and still have a closet full. So in the 90s, I used to do that with Star Wars. I would buy two of everything. And then other things too. Like, I mean, like I've got Kiss action figures, you know, because they make cool looking Kiss action figures. I got those. But I've got a bunch of Star Wars figures that I thought would go up in value. And I would buy two, not of everything, but a lot. I'd buy two, one to open, to display, and then another to hopefully it would great gain in value. And you know where it is? It's in my closet. It hasn't gained in value because everybody in the world did the same thing I did. Everybody is now a collector looking for that. What is this now? Esteban Dido coming at me for my age. Breaking news: Football Miami TV is now sponsored just for men. Hence, Peter and Ed got no gray hair on their heads and got the youthful look. Well,
I got
Ed,
no hair at all.
But look at all that gray in that beard. And yeah, I don't have a lot of gray, just a little bit, not a lot.
Well, that would be a cool sponsor, man. I definitely
I'll take it.
grow my hair out.
I'll take it. So yeah, I'm getting just a couple people think that I should not open them.
See, don't open them.
Couple people saying I shouldn't open them.
Cross your fingers. We'll be able to get those signed, Peter Brown.
I mean, that would be now. Get it signed. Would you turn around and sell it?
That's why you have two. Keep
but
one.
I don't have to.
Sell the other one.
But I don't. So that's a moot point.
But you could still buy one.
Or but I don't know. Somebody go on Google. I know that on the Fanatics website that they were selling them the individuals, but I don't know if they were selling the pack, which is what I have. A new Weissman is saying that you never know, Peter. The Pokemon cards are now more valuable than ever. So not my Star Wars stuff. I can tell you that. Not my Star Wars stuff. Enter Miami Funko.
You can do it.
So yeah, okay. So Fanatics does still have the complete set, according to my search. So
then do it, Peter Brown.
And I told you it was $50. Maybe it was a little more. Maybe it was like 60. I'm not buying another one. You buy one. You're like, I don't play with toys.
Yeah, you just keep them up there.
That's what you're saying. No, you're like, I don't play. I mean, I got these dumb things too. I like collecting stuff. I'm just, dumb.
You're a collector.
But I don't do it as much as I used to. Like I don't have. I can't go overboard. Luckily, there's not. That's why I do have a problem with like Inter Miami gear, because I have that collector's mentality. I like to get the new shirts. I like to get the new hats. I like to get. I spend way too much of my money on stuff like that. But at least with that, it's like wearable. It's not like just collecting dust in a closet, right? It's wearable.
Yeah.
All right,
that's cool.
Well, So far, it sounded like only a few of you commented, but the comments were I should keep it in the box. If anybody that watches this later and gets to the end of the video, because I know some people don't watch the full thing, but if you get to the end of the video, in the comments below, let me know. Should I hold on to it, or should I just open it and enjoy it? Because there's something to say about just enjoying things, like just having things to enjoy them, to look at them, to goof around with them, to see it sitting on a shelf. Like, come on, like J. Thaddeus Toad, everybody. Jesus. This was the only ride in Disney that sends you to hell. It does. Wow. It did in Disney World. It still does in Disneyland. This ride sends you to hell, Ed.
And you went to that ride when you went to Disneyland?
Well, yeah. And I've done it in Disney World before it was closed. In the 90s, it was still open. It closed in the early 2000s, if I remember correctly, and became the Winnie the Pooh ride. But not that anybody really cares. I could go too deep down that rabbit hole of Disney, where I should probably do a Disney podcast. But I don't have any Disney friends. Ed has just looked at me like I'm nuts. When I talk about Disney, he just looks at me like I'm nuts. So Ed will never be my Disney podcast buddy. He's my soccer podcast buddy, but he unless he's just the person that's in the just to listen, just to go
yeah,
because he wouldn't care otherwise, right?
That's true.
Eric Overland saying I should put a good grill in the Suarez Funko figure. Gold grill. He's saying put in a gold grill and. Why? Does he have one? Oh, just because he's a chomper. He's got the chompers. I like what Wycia says. Uncle Ed, buy him as a birthday gift.
Oh, look at that.
Think of me, Ed. Think of me is what they're saying.
For your birthday.
Yeah. No, I don't need anything. I don't need anything. But, Eric Thomas, as far as the Disney thing, saying do one with Danny from the Battered Herons. He and I talked about it. He's too damn busy. But I ran into him at Epcot of all things. There's that picture I floated around once of he and I at Epcot. Just pure random thing. Just saw him at Epcot. So we talked about it, but he's too busy doing like 50 other podcasts. Anyways, guys, I could ramble on. I think we had fun. We bitched. We moaned. We shared our misery. At the end of the day, remember, this is supposed to be fun, and even when we lose, we have to find a way to have fun with it, and this is how you can have fun with it. Anyways, what are we doing?
All right, Peter, I got to tell you, we're gonna have a show in Spanish. It's been
all right.
We haven't been. We have to reorganize a little bit, but. Yes, we're gonna have a show in probably another hour. So
tonight, okay.
Close by. I gotta set it up, and in about another hour, I should have it ready. So,
so that's why Ed is like, stop talking.
No, it's okay, Peter. It's
okay.
But
Esteban is saying I need to do a 2-hour show tonight because he could tell I still got things to say. But when I start bringing out show and tell, that means I'm running out of things. Let's be honest. These things are backup plans. So that's when I run out of things to talk about. All right, everybody. So make sure you tune into Futbol Miami TV ES. Where is that? I don't think I have it anymore.
What? You got rid of it. But Futbol Miami TV ES.
When I redid the graphics here, I don't know if I still have my little Spanish little graphic anymore.
Well, Marco and I should be on in about another hour. So
all right, so everybody go take a break, go eat something maybe, and then go speak some Spanish over on Futbol Miami TV ES. All right.
There you go.
All right, thanks everybody for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in an hour. See you, everybody.